right, welcome to today's edition of Around the Globe right here on ABS. My name is Obina. All right, on today's edition of Around the Globe, we'll be discussing it will be discussion today instead of the normal reeling of probably developments around um, around the world and also in Africa. But today we'll be talking about um, the very popular development, talking about the United States of America designating Nigeria a country of particular concern. You know, this has actually caused lots of ruckus, lots of reactions, and so basically, it's something that we'll be discussing going forward this morning. And I have right here with me Dr. Festus Onoebu, who is an associate professor of African Studies, International Relations, and Diplomacy in the Department of History and International Studies, right there at the Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, Nigeria. He's also the Deputy Director of Center for Sustainable Development at Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka. So we meet here in the studio. We'll be discussing this development, USA, Nigeria, a country of particular concern. All right, so a lot of things to share about this. Of course, there have been a lot of talks about Nigeria in recent times having not been able to, or rather having struggled to defend citizens, average Nigerians who have been killed gruesomely, especially in the northern part of the country. Of course, the government has always communicated intent. The government has always communicated that ambition to, to get things running, to actually keep the people safe, involving the military and a whole lot of things. But it seems they have, really struggled. They've really struggled with that development and all that. All right, but like I said earlier, right here in the studio, we have Dr. Festus Onoebu, an associate professor of African Studies, International Relations, and Diploma right there in the university, in the Department of History and International Studies, Nnamdi Azikiwe University. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning, the listeners.
All right. There have been discussions about this morning, but of course, it has been trending. A whole lot of things about this. It has actually been trending. The United States of America designating Nigeria a country of particular concern. Before we go further, let's look at the issue of sovereignty. Let's look at, is it right that a sovereign nation is giving a certain directive to another sovereign nation?
Robin, thank you for the question so that it needs to be clarified. In the first place, sovereignty is a statutory part of state existence, and which international law actually recognizes it. But in recent, and the contemporary international relations with the force of globalization, the intensive interactions and activities of nations and states across borders, have implicitly initiated a new norm, that tried to impinge on the traditional concept and definition of sovereignty. Sovereignty is not cast on a stone. Now, with the developments in recent international relations, there is what we call deterritorialization, debordering, a state, whereby sovereignty in situations of, acute and humanitarian, situations, sovereignty may be disregarded to save the lives of individuals and the citizens of that country, maybe probably as a result of internal, suppression, or maybe internal dictatorship, or maybe as a result of strife, war, or maybe between a state and another state. So, or maybe within a state. So situations like this can permit intervention,
from another sovereign nation.
Yeah, from another sovereign nation that,
or international bodies too.
yes, that feel such concern that, things are going wrong and the lives and properties of people are at, point of precipice. So a concerned, nation that felt it has the moral obligation and the international backing can decide to, wade in, irrespective of the sovereignty of that country that is in turmoil. So I believe that sovereignty is not cast on a stone, and that gives us a premise that sovereignty is relaxed when there is a, humanitarian, need to intervene. So, and the cases abound. History has shown that even since 1990s, particularly, I wouldn't want to go back from 1945, but since 1990s to the present time, cases abound. There are litany of situations that have warranted a powerful country or that felt it has a moral obligation and the global leadership to intervene in certain situations and in certain places, with disregard of sovereignty. And in most cases, such actions were backed by the international, organizations like United Nations, which happens to be a kind of, a replica of what institutionalizing international law in modern international relations is. So
right.
I think the summary of it is that, yes, sovereignty is a fact that nations should not intervene in another nation's affair, but at the same time, that there are situations, in a country that calls for concern, and then in matters of humanitarian intervention, sovereignty should not be a factor. It is relaxed and acceptable in international law that intervention can take place.
All right, let's also, since you've clarified that, now let's look at the meaning. What does it mean for a country to be designated a country of particular concern, and how significant is it when it comes to international relations?
Yeah, one thing is this. The question is who is making the statement, where is the statement coming from, and what moral responsibility or maybe global leadership influence that who is making the statement have. So that brings into clarification. What we are going to look at, we say, okay, for instance, if the Ghanaian president comes out today, or maybe the Chadian president comes out today and say Nigeria is a country of particular concern, I don't think it would generate the kind of heat.
Yes,
it won't generate the kind of heat where President Trump, from the White House, makes such statement, and which he has already made, and you could see the level of reaction and the international, tension that have already gone, into sway, and you can understand that it's a question of who and what position defines the statement. So I think designating Nigeria as a country of concern is again is a matter of relativity. So I must have to say these things are relative and subjective. But like I have already pointed out, it depends on the position in the global affairs of the person and the country he leads who made the statement. And for President Trump to make such statement, that shows that it has, significant international concern, and it reverberates, across the globe. And that is to say, in international politics, he didn't just come out to make that statement. Before he made that statement, he has the best of intelligence. He has the best of intelligence. He has, the best of information at his disposal, and there must have been consultations before he made that statement. They must have analyzed it. He has a team. America has chains of, relations of outlets of relationship everywhere. He must have consulted. He must have weighed events, and this must have taken a number of years, to come up to what it is now before the White House, before he makes that statement. And again, it depends on personal idiosyncrasy and leadership style of who Trump is. There have been presidents of the United States of America and things were happening in Nigeria, and none of them feel it is a concern. But for Trump, it's a concern. And maybe from the point of presenting himself as a moral crusader in international politics, I think, and that's what he's pushing. And that's why it has to generate the reaction it is generating. But for me, this is a matter of, I can't just say, I must say Nigeria is bad or maybe Nigeria is good. No, we are dealing with facts here. So that he made that statement, there are facts on the table before him. And I wouldn't know, and I don't think that, such facts, we are just manufactured from nowhere. Such facts, we are detailed. So
let's before we go further, let's actually share with us that statement from the man Donald Trump. Let's share with us that statement from the man Donald Trump that actually did vertebrate that that development. On a post he made via his Truth social media handle, and later reposted on his X handle, also known as Twitter. He posted, he said, Christianity is facing an existential threat in Nigeria. Thousands of Christians are being killed. Radical Islamists are responsible for this mass slaughter, hereby making Nigeria a country of particular concern. But that is the least of it. When Christians or any such group is slaughtered, like is happening in Nigeria, we have about 3,100 versus 4,476 worldwide. Something must be done. I'm asking Congressman Riley Moore, together with Chairman Tom Cole and the House Appropriation Committee, to immediately look into this matter and report back to me. The United States cannot stand by while such atrocities are happening in Nigeria and numerous other countries. We stand ready, willing, and able to save our great Christian population around the world, coming from Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Okay, now looking at this statement, why should it come from, why do you feel Nigeria struggled, the leadership of Nigeria struggled to probably follow up on this development?
well, I think that is even the factor that even made Trump to make that statement. Because, to be honest, if you look back since 2008, 2009, 2008, down the line to 2025, you will understand that successive Nigerian governments are just playing to the gallery. That's just the fact. That's the fact. And nobody can be apologetic about it. That is the situation of our nation. That is the situation of our country. We cannot keep on hiding on the cloak of sentiment and dodging the truth. That's the truth. If the government had lived up to expectation, had mobilized its machineries, its forces, with the right budgeting and the implementation in that aspect, I think what you see today as insecurity menace, maybe coming from Boko Haram, whatever you call it, herdsmen attack, and ISWAP and all sort of that, which is always riveted in the form of religious extremism or ethnic cleansing or whatever you call it, or separatist movement, maybe agitations to have an Islamic state or whatever. But in every way it has manifested. I think that if government had actually, in the first place, faced this problem squarely and with the intelligence, I must have to say, even though these are security matters, the DSS cannot come and present, their file before you, or the police or National Intelligence Agency may not come and present the reports before you. But I am saying that there were reports when this thing started. Intelligence reports were made and fed to the government. This is the situation. But I think that the government feels so relaxed and neglected it. Maybe I wouldn't know the reasons. I wouldn't want to, join the banters of rumor. No, I wouldn't know the reasons. But reasons best known to them, government did not do enough. And, some of the government did fail to act.
All right.
So
let's look at the public statement being made by Bola Tinubu, that's the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, in response to that statement made by, President Donald Trump. He said Nigeria stands firmly as a democracy governed by constitutional guarantees of religious liberty. Since 2023, our administration has maintained an open and active engagement with Christian and Muslim leaders alike and continues to address security challenges which affect citizens across faiths and regions. The characterization of Nigeria as religiously intolerant does not reflect our national reality, nor does it take into consideration the consistent and sincere efforts of the government to safeguard freedom of religion and beliefs for all Nigerians. Religious freedoms and tolerance have been a core tenet of collective identity and shall always remain so. Nigeria opposes religious persecution and does not encourage it. Nigeria is a country with constitutional guarantees to protect citizens of all faiths. And finally, our administration is committed to working with the United States government and the international community to deepen understanding and cooperation on protection of communities of all faiths. That's a statement from President Bola Tinubu on that development.
Analyzing the statement of the president, a kind of address to the nation. We don't expect, I personally don't expect less from that. That is what the president should do. And he has done what he's supposed to do. In a situation like this, what do you expect him to do? He will come out and address the country.
Some say he shouldn't have,
No. I differ. I disagree, because this is a matter of international politics. It is international relation. It is an integral part of international relation. Considering the caliber of who Trump is, not just about the person of Trump, but the United States of America. We are talking of America talking. We are not saying Trump is speaking on personal terms. American government is talking. He is the president of the United States. So what do you expect the Tinubu to do? Tinubu has to respond. Tinubu has to address the nation. Tinubu has to make a statement to calm nerves in Nigeria. To me, that is just what it is. People call it, damage control. But
how is this likely going to affect the diplomatic relationships between both countries? Also looking at the fact that reports say tomorrow Bola Tinubu is slated to meet the Vice President of the United States. We're talking about J.D. Vance.
Well. There is something that is very, very clear here. In international relations, for instance, there is what we call severity of diplomatic relations. When countries, are likely to plunge into conflict, for instance, when the conflict is about brewing or maybe kind of disagreement and the countries are not just having easy way in their relationship, it might lead to first what we call, severity of diplomatic relations. The two countries might severe diplomatic relations, though economic relations might still go on. People can continue to trade, import their goods, and then export goods to America. American markets are still free, maybe probably for Nigerian goods, and Nigeria can still import from the United States. But severity of diplomatic relations entails that America will withdraw her ambassadorial representative and close her mission in Nigeria. And Nigeria will significantly retaliate by doing same, withdrawing, its ambassador from United States, and then close his mission. But it has not gotten to that.
But currently,
it has not gotten.
Reports say Nigeria does not have that ambassador currently.
Even though, but there is Nigerian consulate is still in New York. Nigeria still maintain a consulate in New York, because if you look at it in Washington, most of like for instance now, if you are doing any business here now, remittances, clearance, and whatever, or maybe a Nigerians have a problem there in United States, the first place the report has to go is Nigerian consulate in Washington. To take care, if the consulate wasn't able to address it, it might be a problem that will be brought down to the Nigerian government to look at the issue. But there are things that the consulate there can solve. So whether Nigeria ambassador is there now or not, the consulate is still working. So Nigeria has a consular general, in the consulate. The consulate is different from the embassy. The ambassador stays in the embassy, while the Nigerian consulate, treats matters of students, issue, trade, and whatever everyday business that go on with the nationals of Nigerians in the United States. So Nigerian consulate is still working there, but we have now gotten to the point whereby Nigeria is severing a relationship with United States of America. No, this is just a statement that was made by the president of United States of America. Probably because of his personal concern and the weight of information, on his table. And what Tinubu has done back home to maybe come out to make a statement to reassure Nigerians is expected. Even if any other person is the president there, not Tinubu, he will still do the same thing. But what we are saying in essence is that if Nigerian government becomes so much agitated by what President Trump says, that is where my worry will be. Because I don't expect Nigerian government to be so agitated or to be so rattled or becoming so defensive of what President Trump said. To me, to be honest, what Trump said is just the fact. It happens in Nigeria. You understand? It happens. So I think Tinubu should rise up to the occasion. Tinubu and his government should rise up to the occasion to take this statement as a reminder, to take this statement as a call back to work. That is what I expected, Nigerian government to do, not to challenge the statement or begin to, impute, a cycle of retaliatory statement, statement against the United States of America or question the right of making that statement. Actually, Trump has not intervened. Trump made a statement. In international relations, there can be threats to war and, threat of, going to war. Somebody can make a threat. It's a strategy. He might not actually go to war, but he can threaten that he wants to go to war. That is threat of use of force, and the use of force actually.
All right.
Yes.
Talking about threat of use of force, that's what the President Donald Trump actually did. We're talking about a follow-up statement, probably after President Bola Tinubu tried to make a defense statement over how some of his statement may not really be the reality in Nigeria, where he said, if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the United States of America will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria and may very well go into the now disgraced country. Guns are blazing, in hypothesis, to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action if we attack.
Anambra Broadcasting Service, ABS. With delight, we bring you the light that we bear through our illustrious leaders. Our icons. Our industrious people. Our rich culture, our places of pride, and our mouth-watering cuisine. with unbridled professionalism and renewed tenacity.
Nasarawa, Plateau, Benue, and even up northeast from Taraba, Adamawa to Taraba, coming down to Plateau, and then Benue, Nasarawa at the other extreme, and even moving down. If you look at from Benue to Enugu, Ebonyi State, look at the northern part of Ebonyi State and the Enugu State, and you see from this zone, you look at what these marauders are moving down to do, and every day. Because maybe we are here in Anambra, and I think somebody should have experience to live in Benue State or Plateau State. It's very horrible.
It's very horrible.
It's very horrible.
When you hear statements from these persons.
I personally am not saying it from the religious point of view. No, these are human beings.
Let's bring the religious aspect, because probably that, not probably, but from the statements from Donald Trump, that is actually his bone of contention. There seems to be a strategic extermination of Christians, especially in the northern part and in the middle belt area of
and even coming down to the east.
Gradually.
If we are not seeing it.
My Lafa, did make of blessed memory, someone who died sometime in 2020 and all that. So let's look at it from that aspect of religiosity. I wouldn't want to say complacency, but the influence of the church, talking about the Pentecostals, talking about the Catholic, talking about the leadership to the Christian institution of Nigeria, how they have their involvement in recent times in that, in terms of the religious crisis.
Well, I think what would they do is, the problem is this, you see, society is connected with power, leadership, religion, and then down to the economy. There is, the superstructure and the substructure of the society. And if you look at it critically, who controls, the superstructure have so much influence in the substructure. The Christian community you are talking, the Christian community in question, irrespective of the denominations, are at the receiving ends. The Christian community, by facts available, reports, independent reports, eyewitness accounts, and intelligence at the disposal of the public and also at the disposal of the government. They are not armed. The Christians weren't taking arms to fight anybody. The Christians were on the defensive side of protecting themselves. I wouldn't know why somebody would be in the church on a Sunday, to express his, religious belief and the obligations to his faith, and without having intention to harm everybody, the entire church would be set ablaze. And people have been enduring this thing. Many families have lost their kids and kin, children, wives, husbands in such situation. Maybe the magnitude has not really happened down here, but this is just a daily experiences in Plateau State, in Benue State. Even in up north, Zamfara, talk about them. So anywhere Christian community is, they are endangered species. They are endangered species. And I think when you look at it, like I said about the superstructure and the substructure, if you look at it, the people, the terrorists themselves, were the ones that were armed. I don't know the religious affiliations of the terrorists anyway, but so to say, in quotes, that the banner is always looking at jihadism. And that is where the problem comes in. You can't take it away. You cannot take it away. It's a fact. So when you are talking about the herdsmen, where are the herdsmen coming from? They are predominantly from the Islamic, region. The Boko Haram, where are they coming? They are predominantly from the Islamic, region. So you can't take it away. You can't take it away. And who were their targets? The targets are the Christian communities in the north and in the middle belt, and even moving down here. So when you look at it, you can't rule it out. You can't take it away. So in analysis, even in an academic analysis, it's a potential factor to consider. So it is not out of the place to say that Muslims are against Christians. It is not. So whoever says that is not, 100% wrong. There are elements of, believability. There are elements of what, factuality in his statement.
All right, let's begin to, or rather, let's take a very short break, and when we come back, we'll begin to share with you some takes by really very popular analysts, takes by some citizens and all that, before we, call it a day. So this is still around the globe right here on ABS television. My name is Obina. And of course, I'm here with Dr. Festus Onwebo, who is a lecturer at Anambra University, Department of History and International Studies. Globe right on ABS television, where, of course, we'll bring you lots of stories that shape our award this morning right here in the studio. All right, before we go for the break, I told you when we come back, we'll be sharing with you some takes by really some private individuals, some public analysts and all that. But let's take one from Reverend Father Chinenye John Oluoma, also known as Father Oluoma on X, and some of his other social media handles, when he said in relation to that genocide in Nigeria, the President of the United States of America has designated Nigeria a country of particular concern on the ground of genocide against Christians. Prior to this designation, there's been argument on whether there's a genocide against Christians or not. I will pass on this. Rather, I got three things to say to this. On this, what comes around goes around. During the GEJ's administration, Tinubu wrote in 2014, the slaughtering of Christian worshippers is strongly condemnable. It calls to question the competence of Jonathan to protect Nigerians. We know how some northern politicians then got Obama to designate Nigeria to the negative consequences for Goodluck Ebele Jonathan's government. That slaughtering continued in Buhari's administration and hasn't stopped yet. So instead of exasperating myself on what term to use and describe the death, I'd rather call our attention to the fact that history, pardons for that matter, repeats itself in Nigeria. This should be a bigger worry for us. It means that Nigeria spins in a vicious cycle or circle, and the only way out is radical reforms. Nigeria needs intentional, strategic and deliberate reform from constitutional basis and level. The USA hasn't taken its decision. That's his second point. Argument about whether there is genocide or not is both unnecessary now and insensitive to victims of bloodshed in Nigeria. There is genocide in Nigeria against ordinary Nigerians, and the government should take all the blame for not living up to its responsibility. Also, going forward, he said, I don't know the diplomatic implications of the designation of the country and how it may affect ordinary Nigerians. I hope that the USA will specifically target the personal interests of the political class and not just dump blankets of sanctions on the country that will end up affecting the poor people who are already the victims of the whole insecurity. The US cannot selectively target the personal interests of the political class who have the responsibility of securing the country and force them into confronting the insecurity. Then the designation means nothing to us besides the momentary emotional gratification, and some are binging on now. Maybe this designation will also make Bola Tinubu to appoint a seasoned technocrat as Nigeria's ambassador to the United States of America. We also have one from Adamobi Garuba too, where he says Nigeria's response was hasty, confrontational, and non-strategic. The US already have their data. built over the years and are acting based on such precedents. That confrontational response is exactly what they wanted. We've given them the fuel to advance on their plans. All right, we also share some other takes on that development. One from the how best do I put it? The person, the rep member being directed to look into that situation. Before we talk about that, also look at CNN saying that President Trump says he's ordered the Pentagon to prepare for possible action in Nigeria as he continues to accuse. So CNN is saying it's more of an accusation of that development than with actually what is on ground. Then we look at what Riley M. Moore, who was probably appointed by President Trump to look into that situation, where he said the government of Nigeria and President Bola Tinubu, President Trump has provided forewarning: if you do not correct the current situation of inaction to stop the killing of our brothers and sisters in Christ in your country, the days of the U.S. looking the other way are over. It will never happen on President Trump's watch. I urge you to cooperate with us in preventing this atrocity that worsens every day. We want your people to live in peace, all of them, especially Christians. The president has been clear. I would not test the resolve. Many have tried and all have failed. We will not allow the gates of hell to prevail against the faithful.
Yeah, these are facts. So these are facts. And when I tell you that these are facts, is America, like one of the statement on the X stated, America has gathered intelligence for years, and this is a serious country. Let me tell you one thing. One problem we have here is that we play a lot in this country called Nigeria. Sorry to say it, we play a lot. Even move to our local governments, move to our state governments, down to the federal level, Nigerians play with intelligence, and we are not record documented. That is the problem of Nigeria.
You think you're not record documented?
Yes.
Or we do not take records?
That is what I'm saying. Yes, we are. So we don't put enough intelligence. And look at our security apparatus. Check from army to police, even the little that DSS is doing and whatever. Do they even have sustainable data bank, intelligence data bank? Can Nigeria play a lot? Everybody is just out there pursuing contract and doing this, looking at how budget is made, and we take the budget in the ministry and whatever, and the corner contracts. We are just wasting time here. We are not being accountable. This is a government that has spent time. What this man is speaking now, what President Trump is speaking now, might be an intelligence of over 25 years. Don't doubt it. It might be an intelligence of over 25 years.
And you think the government have been,
America, despite...
You think the Nigerian government have not been aware of these?
That is what I'm telling you. They are aware, but they couldn't even do anything. And because of personal interest, vested interest. And
What could be these?
That is where I'm coming. Because sometimes here, the problem we have here is that we are not nationalistic. We are tribally minded. We are sensationally minded, ethnic minded. That is our problem. You see somebody becoming a president of Nigeria, you will see within him, his actions, he might not even try to come. Even we are bold enough to say it. Somebody called the entire people here is a small dot.
So let's
you see, these are the issues.
Let's quickly look at the possible political or religious motivation behind Trump's statement. Remember, he further referred to Nigeria as a disgraceful country.
Yeah, well, if you are told what you are, and that is actually what you are, if you are serious enough, if you are reasonable enough, and you want to survive, you should take what you are told, because that is who you are, and then go home and think why this person said such, and look at yourself. And if you can admit the truth, if you are accountable enough to yourself, I'm not saying you should be accountable to people, but to yourself, if you're accountable enough to yourself and realizes that what this person said is actually what I am, you work on yourself and get better.
So,
But
motivation behind.
Well, because the level of things that he has, information he has, and the things he keep hearing and seeing, about Nigeria. Nigeria is not hidden. Nigeria is not living under the.
Okay.
Nigeria is in the.
You're
So
not from the aspect of him being a Christian too.
Well, he might have his religious bias, but I'm not looking at religious bias. I am speaking from a point of being a global citizen.
Right.
He is concerned as a global citizen. That he is making references to Christianity, you understand, does not bring much about his, prejudices to, being a Christian. But that is the fact. Who are being killed in Nigeria? They are Christians. So even a Muslim president in the United States of America can still make this statement that Trump made.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Festus,
Yes.
who is an associate professor of American Studies, International Relations, and Diplomacy in the Department of Asian and International Studies in Anambra University, Oka, Nigeria. He is also the Deputy Director Center for Sustainable Development at Anambra University, Oka. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
Next time.
Thank you.
My name is Obina. Thank you for joining us. Of course, we'll bring you the world news at noon, and then other, other programs await you right on EBS television. Do have a very positive day.